Adam Neal of Savage Master. Welcome to 69 Faces of Rock. How are you doing today?
Doing great. Thanks for having me.
So how did you get the idea for Savage Master?
Well, generally, overall, it would be I wanted to do a retro traditional metal band. I always wanted to do a band with a girl singer, and meeting Stacy really set that off into a possibility. And then the concept of the band comes from, we both liked a movie called Black Sunday with Barbara Steele. And that's kind of where the real concept of the band grew from, that, with the hooded executioners and her being a witch and all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm. How long did it take you to make it work?
Just recently. No, just kidding. Just recently has it worked. And now, I don't know, it was a good year or two before it really could jump into something that I thought we could really do.
Mm-hmm. And what would you say were the challenges at that point?
The challenges were probably the same challenges most bands feel, just exposure, not being treated as a joke. When you do the outfits, it's like you're riding this kind of line, like some people will write you off immediately. Like the second they see the outfits, they're like, no, fuck this, or whatever. And then some people won't. So it takes some time for you to win that out, kind of. Like if you stick around long enough, people will pay attention to what you're actually doing. It's not so much about the image, even though we use the image, it's not so much about that.
And speaking that, you have a very visual presentation, like you just mentioned. Can you describe how it was all put together?
Really piece by piece. Early on, I think, like I said, the concept comes from Black Sunday, and then it was a matter of what we could afford to wear. Like what I could afford to get for every single member of the band to wear. Uniform stuff gets expensive. So when you're first starting out, it's something you really have to consider. So that was really it, piece by piece, leading up to the way we are now, which is a much more elaborate outfit and show.
How did the metal scene react to all of it? Like you just mentioned that at one point you were written off, but...
I think in like traditional metal scenes, like immediately a lot of people took some notice of the Ripper in Black single that kind of came out on the YouTube, and there was pretty good interest at the beginning. We were lucky there. People were like, what is this weird shit, or whatever, And then there were a lot of doubters after that, of course. That's when it happens. And then it kind of settled into where it is now, but it just takes, you got to fight it out here. It's just one of those things. You'll either have like immediate success or you're going to fight it out.
What was the breaking point for the band?
I don't know if we've had a breaking point.
It's still to come.
It's still, is it broke? The best things that happened to us were recently the Hunting Night video. That course of things seemed to really bring people's awareness of us up, way up. That album really seemed to, I don't know if because it got better reviews than the other albums, you don't exactly know, or maybe just more people bought it and heard it this time. But that album was a big pump. When we first signed to Shadow Kingdom, the first album we did with them, that was a noticeable bump in how many people actually knew who we were from that point on. So a lot of it's just like the business side of it, I think. Who's pushing you?
True. Now, when it comes to the people who actually, the doubters, when they actually cross to the other side, what do they say was the thing that made it happen for them?
I thought you guys were a joke. I thought you were like some half-rate Midnight with a Girl singer. People say that, or they want to relate us to the Mentors, and how that's like kind of pornographic joke rock, and just not take it seriously. But eventually, I think they hear the albums, or they hear like that one song they might like by us eventually, and then it works kind of works backwards.
There is so much attention to the visual presentation. Let's talk music. Who did you want to be musically initially?
Initially it was I was really clear about what we were thinking. Of course, there's always the Judas Priest element, because Judas Priest is a very important band to me personally. But there were other bands at the time that we were really interested in. Of course, Warlock, Taste of Iron, Bitch. That was kind of the stuff we were kind of going for, but mixed with some fantasy metal, Sirathongo, and some other fantasy metal elements, even some pseudo power metal kind of concepts, a little more elaborate than what those bands were doing conceptually, but that kind of thing is what we were definitely aiming for.
How do you feel the band developed since the early days?
I think the biggest developments we've had are just musically. The playing in the band and the complexity of the music's changed a lot.
Do you think you found your style at this point?
I think so. I think we've found our rut and our place. Mm-hmm. Of course, I don't know, like the next album we may completely change it up and maybe something else, but for now I think we're in a good sweet spot.
And how would you describe that style?
I think we've pushed more into 80s metal rock territory than maybe underground fantasy music, or occult type themes. Mm-hmm. The themes of the songs have changed a bit too, a little more mature. It's just something she built. I mean, like over time, like she also, this was her first band, so she really had to think it out, you know. Like I've been in a lot of bands, so I kind of knew the grift, but she had to figure out her own style and figure out her own stage performance style, and I think she's done really great with it. She's carved out a niche.
You had been playing to US crowds and European crowds.
Yes.
Right? How is everyone responding to what you do?
We have had some real successful tours the last couple tours. The last run we did in January of this year in Europe was our best one yet. The crowds were fantastic and very nice to us. You know, like the metal community there is very, I don't know, it's like very embracing, more brotherly vibe than in the U.S. But also we just did a West Coast tour here in the U.S. and that was very successful, very cool. So ultimately it's been good. There have been times when it was like, earlier on in the band, it was very hard because traditional metal had not come around so well here. There were only a handful of bands, you know. Mm-hmm. So we'd go and play these places and have to play with whatever band you're stuck with, and people are questioning what kind of music you're doing. They don't even understand it. And so it's a big progress.
It will be 10 years as a band for Savage Master. How do you reflect on the first decade?
It's crazy to think it's gone on that we wore these masks for 10 years. Well, it's been the best 10 years of my life. It's been the most fun. We've had just such a blast doing the band. I mean, I can't tell you how fun it's been to get to play with some of your heroes and do these shows, play with these bands that you listen to as a kid and stuff like that. It's really a mind blower kind of, and it's plenty enough fun to keep doing it.
Were you able to achieve your initial goals?
Yes, easily. Mm-hmm. I think our initial goal was just to get an album out, you know, get out there in the thing.
What else is there for you to gain?
I don't know. I think we just have to keep climbing the ladder as hard as we can and see where we can get with it. Mm-hmm. See where we land.
Your last record, Those Who Hunt at Night, came out in 2021. How did it do?
It did great. I think it did. It was definitely our best album as far as like it got around the most. Most people bought it. Most people paid attention to it. We got the biggest response from it. People, you know, really dissected that one for some reason.
Mm-hmm. Are there any plans for a follow-up?
Yeah, we're working on one now.
How's it shaping up?
So far, so good. I'd say we got about maybe 5-6 songs so far for a 10-song album. We'll see where it goes.
Any kind of concept to it?
No concept this
just new songs?
New songs, but it'll be in a more, even slightly more 80s rock vein.
Mm-hmm. So at this point, how much of your life is filled with nasty savage activity? I mean, nasty savage master. No.
This is so common. It's so common. Oh yeah, all the time.
Yeah.
Sweet savage too. Yeah. People have said that before. Our whole lives are based around it because you have to work around this whole situation where you go out and do these 3-week to a month and a half jaunts, you know, all over the world and wherever you're at. So you can't have a normal job. It's difficult. So your whole life is kind of based around doing these silly bands.
And what do you guys do when you don't play or don't
work
write
jobs?
songs?
We'll work different jobs. Me and Stace have definitely had tons of bar jobs, and bartending and cooking and all. You know, the list of jobs all band members have basically over time.
Just survival.
Yeah, survival.
Finally, you're definitely a live band. What were some of the strangest live experiences that you?
Strangest live experiences, really. Any one of our shows could yield some kind of weird thing for us because we're in these outfits, and the amount of times I've fallen down or fallen halfway off the stage, knocked my own amp over, stuff that you would never do in a regular band ever is privy for that. You could pass out in our outfit. I could die up there. And that's like, it's a different, people throw things at you. People don't understand. any of it. They think, like it's like carnival or something.
So there are wardrobe malfunctions.
Oh yes, definitely. My belts come off. I know Stacy's had all kinds of things fall off. Your mask will get where you can't see anything. Every day it's something. Also, the masks we play in, you don't get to wash them every day, so they smell like your old gym socks all the time. So you got to think about that. Like the whole time I'm up there, it smells like that.
Yeah. Crazy. Thank you.
Hey, thank you.